I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. All girls all over the world. Original man, stunt man, pon your case, man. I love how all girls are move them body. And when you move your body, wanna move it nice and sweet and sexy. Alright, woman you cute, I don't need no makeup. Original cute body, you want me fat, but woman you cute, I don't need no makeup. Original cute body, you want me fat, but woman physically fit, physically fit, physically, woman physically fit, physically fit, physically, woman you nice, sweet, fantastic. Bitch up on the ocean, that's a bit Titanic. Woman you nice, sweet, fine, energetic. Bitch up on the ocean, that's a bit Titanic. Woman you nice, sweet, fantastic. Bitch up on the ocean, that's a bit Titanic. Woman you nice, sweet, fine, energetic. Bitch up on the ocean, that's a bit Titanic. Come on, I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.
A long time, and I know more than most people know. And I can get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on, let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take my Number two. No one has said my son has done anything wrong, and I did not on any occasion. And no one has ever said it. Not
I
one.
didn't say you were doing anything wrong.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company. Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
That's what I hear on MSNBC. All the
You
time.
don't hear that in
No, I
MSNBC.
didn't.
You did not hear that. But you heard. Look, okay, I'm not going to get in an argument with you,
No,
man.
no, I don't want to.
Well, yeah, you do, but look, Fat, look, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
It looks like you don't have any more backbone than Trump does.
Any other questions?
Yeah, all right. I'm not voting for you.
Well, I knew you weren't, man. You think I thought you'd stand up and vote for me? You're too old to vote for me. All right, here we go.
Know that he continues to do business with China because he's got a secret Chinese bank account. How is that possible? How is that possible? A secret Chinese bank account. Listen, can you imagine if I had had a secret Chinese bank account when I was running for re-election? You think Fox News might have been a little concerned about that? They would have called me Beijing Barry. It is not a great idea to have a president who owes a bunch of money to people overseas. Yet that this president wants full credit for the economy he inherited and zero blame for the pandemic that he ignored. But you know what? The job doesn't work that way. Tweeting at the television doesn't fix things. Making stuff up doesn't make people's lives better. You've got to have a plan. You've got to put in the work. Donald Trump isn't suddenly going to protect all of us. He can't even take the basic steps to protect himself. Just last night, he complained up in Erie that the pandemic made him go back to work. I'm quoting here. He was upset that the pandemic's made him go back to work. If he'd actually been working the whole time, it never would have gotten this bad. And with Joe and Kamala at the helm, you're not going to have to think about the crazy things they said every day. And that's worth a lot. You're not going to have to argue about them every day. It just won't be so exhausting. You might be able to have a Thanksgiving dinner without having an argument. You'll be able to go about your lives knowing that the president is not going to retweet conspiracy theories about secret cabals running the world, or that Navy SEALs didn't actually kill bin Laden. Think about that. The president of the United States retweeted that. Imagine. What? We're not going to have a president that goes out of his way to insult anybody who doesn't support him or threaten them with jail. That's not normal presidential behavior. We wouldn't tolerate it from a high school principal. We wouldn't tolerate it from a coach. We wouldn't tolerate it from a coworker. We wouldn't tolerate it in our own family, except for maybe crazy uncle somewhere, you know. Yeah, he's because let me tell you something, Pennsylvania, people ask me sometimes, they say, man, how have you been able to take it these last 4 years, just watching all this? How do you keep your spirits up? And I tell them, I say, look, for all the times these last 4 years that we've seen our worst impulses revealed, we've also seen what our country can be at its best. We've seen folks of every age and background who've packed city centers and airports and town squares just so families wouldn't be separated, so another classroom wouldn't get shot up, so our kids wouldn't grow up on an uninhabitable planet. We've seen Americans of all races joining together to declare in the face of injustice that Black Lives Matter, no more but no less, so that no child in this country feels the continuing sting of racism. We've seen folks, our essential workers, our healthcare workers, risking their lives day in, day out to save somebody else's loved ones. We see that what is best in us is still there, but we've got to give it voice, and we've got to do it now. So let's get to work, people. Let's bring this home. I love you, Philadelphia. Honk if you're fired up. Honk if you're ready to go.
USA! 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 Look, I'll do what he's unable to do. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. I'll do what he's unable to do. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
I, Amy Coney Barrett, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. The oath that I have solemnly taken tonight means at its core that I will do my job without any fear or favor, and that I will do so independently of both the political branches and of my own preferences.
This is a momentous day for America, for the United States Constitution, and for the fair and impartial rule of law. It is highly fitting that Justice Barrett fills the seat of a true pioneer for women, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Good evening to our viewers in the West, and thank you for joining us. We're going to begin our special edition of the broadcast with breaking news tonight. President Trump is trying to convince Americans that he is getting better, tweeting out a 4-minute video of himself at a desk at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, saying he feels good, but that the next few days are, quote, the real test. The president's video message comes after his own chief of staff told the Associated Press earlier today that President Trump is, quote, still not on a clear path to a full recovery after contracting coronavirus, and that the next 48 hours will be critical in terms of his care. It has been a day of confusing and conflicting information from the White House and the president's doctor, who laid out a timeline of when the president was diagnosed with the virus, only to later say he was incorrect. Now, what is clear tonight is that the president of the United States is now being aggressively treated for a deadly virus, just 31 days before the election, as the number of people around him who are now infected continues to grow. There's a lot of new reporting to get to tonight. Our team of correspondents is standing by to cover it all. CBS's Paula Reed is going to lead off our coverage tonight from the White House. Good evening, Paula.
Good evening, Nora. After a day of mixed messages from this White House, President Trump decided to take control of the narrative by releasing his own video speaking directly to the American people. It's the first time we've seen him in treatment.
I came here
in a 4-minute Twitter video.
I feel much better now.
A pale and slightly hoarse President Trump spoke directly to the American people for the first time since being hospitalized.
I think I'll be back soon.
In a rare moment of vulnerability, the president, who has consistently tried to downplay the severity of the virus, acknowledged the uncertainty of his own case.
You don't know over the next period of a few days. I guess that's the real test. So we'll be seeing what happens over those next couple of days.
The next 48 hours are critical as President Trump undergoes aggressive treatment for coronavirus, including using an experimental drug at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. The Associated Press says the White House chief of staff warned reporters today there's still no clear path to a full recovery after the president's vital signs were concerning on Friday. That statement came moments after a confusing news conference held by the president's doctors.
This morning, the president is doing very well.
And the team of physicians treating him.
We have monitored his cardiac function, his kidney function, his liver function. All of those are normal.
The president's doctor avoided direct questions about the president's treatment, including if he had ever been given oxygen.
He has not received any supplemental oxygen?
He's not on oxygen right now, that's right.
But CBS News has learned the president was given oxygen before he was airlifted to Walter Reed on Friday night. The president's doctors also raised new questions about when the president was diagnosed, suggesting he was sick as early as Wednesday.
Just 72 hours into the diagnosis now.
But that contradicted the president, who said he tested positive just 36 hours ago. Today, his doctor tried to account for the discrepancy.
So Thursday afternoon, following the news of a close contact, is when we repeated testing and given kind of clinical indications that a little bit more concern.
Hours later, that same White House physician issued this memo saying he had been incorrect, confusing 72 hours with 3 days. Tonight, a White House official tells CBS News the president got his first positive result for coronavirus on Thursday night from a rapid test following that fundraiser in New Jersey, where sources say he appeared lethargic. As confusion about the president's condition grows, so does the number of people in his inner circle infected with the virus. Tonight, Chris Christie, who helped prepare the president for his debate and later appeared on ABC News coverage of it, says he has checked himself into the hospital after testing positive. Experts now worry last Saturday's Rose Garden announcement of the president's Supreme Court pick was a super spreader event. The president and at least 6 other people who attended have now been infected, including Christie and Kellyanne Conway, former counselor to the president, in addition to the First Lady, the president of Notre Dame, and 2 senators. The others who weren't there, the president's campaign manager Bill Stepien and Senator Ron Johnson, now say they too have tested positive. And tonight, the White House continues to provide a mixed and confusing message about the president's condition. Mr. Trump took to Twitter from his hospital room, praising Walter Reed's staff. Doctors, nurses are amazing. With their help, I am feeling well.
He's not only tweeting, he is also dictating a statement to his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, insisting that he feels well enough to get up and go hold a rally, doing what he has done throughout this pandemic, putting a positive spin on things, even when the facts suggest otherwise.
Then he gets out of the hospital and he talks about don't worry, it's all going to be over soon. Come on.
Having a good relationship
Trump,
with leaders of other countries is a good thing.
We have a lot of questions to get to.
That's
Your
like
response.
saying we had a good relationship with Hitler before he, in fact, invaded Europe, the rest of Europe. Come on. Last time we were on stage here, he said, I told him to stand down and stand ready. Come on. This guy has a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn. He said, I only pay that little because I'm smart. I know how to game the system. Come on. Come on, folks. I mean, the idea that Donald Trump is lecturing me on Social Security and Medicare? Come on. All you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. Come on. And Mitch McConnell said, let him go bankrupt. Let him go bankrupt. Come on.